Yes, I stop at theory and information, isn't it?
Yes, madam.
Okay, right. So then we have two approaches according to the theories, right? So basically we are in the research, we are based on the theories, right? Based on theories, we have two approaches called deductive and inductive, right? So what do you mean by the deductive? So is it recording? Is this lecture recording? Yes, no? Stop share. Okay, I hope it's recording. Right. So based on the theory, as I said you previously, research are based on the theories. Based on the theory, we identify two approaches. So what those are? Deductive and the inductive approaches, or is deductive and the inductive reasoning. What do you mean by the deductive? We'll start from the deductive. Deductive in the sense you are going to test the existing theory. Right. So how you can test the existing theory? What are the examples for theories? Last week we have discussed about the theories. What are the theories? Yes, agency theory, right? Legitimacy theory, stakeholder theory. What else? Yes, stewardship theory. What else? Resource-based theories, natural resource-based theories, Utah model, right? TAM model, technology acceptance theory, right? So there are a lot of theories in the research field, right? We are discussing about the sociology, So then, with these theories, we can test those theories, whether these theories are correct or wrong, right? So therefore, you can start with the existing theory, right? How you can test the theory? You have to formulate the hypothesis. What do you mean by a hypothesis? Yes, hypothesis. What do you mean by a hypothesis? Is a testable statement, right? Example, last week we discussed there is a relationship between X and Y. There is a relationship between financial reporting. Sorry, there is a relationship between IFRS adaptation and the financial reporting quality, right? So there is a positive impact between or its positive impact of sustainable reporting or ESG reporting on the environmental performance, right? So again, there is we are starting from the yes, environment. Sorry, fintech. Fintech has a positive impact on the environmental performance. Right? What these are? These are hypotheses. You can write the hypothesis according to the several ways. Right. So this we have to, if we want to test a theory, you have to develop a hypothesis. How you can develop this hypothesis? You just can't develop a hypothesis. You should have the previous findings on this same theory, existing theory. You have to read the theory first. and you have to go in depth, and you have to read. While you are reading about this theory, you have to find another research where the existing theory tested. For example, if you are reading about if you want to test the agency theory, you have to read the agency theory more and more, right? Meanwhile, you have to find the research article where you have to find the research articles, that means previous research articles, those who have tested this agency theory. Based on their findings, if they are moving towards the positive relationship, so if they are moving towards at the end of their discussions, if they are moving towards the negative relationship, based on the previous findings, you can develop the hypothesis. That means formulating. We are identifying it as a formulating the hypothesis. Okay, you read the you have identified the theory, you go in depth, and then you formulate the hypothesis. If you have formulated the hypothesis, okay, we are going to test something. We have the hypothesis. There is a relationship in between ESG reporting and the environmental performance. Right? So that is a testable statement. How you can test this? You have to collect the data. Right? How you can collect the data? It may be either primary data or else the secondary data. You may have the chance to collect this primary data and the second data throughout the surveys. Right? By referring annual reports, through the questionnaires, right? Or else through the interviews. Likewise, you can collect the data. Once you collect the data regarding this hypothesis, what you are going to test? ESG reporting and the financial, so in ESG reporting and the environmental performance. Now you have to collect the data, annual report data or else primary data from this regarding this, the variables. What are the variables? ESG reporting and the environmental performance, right? Okay, now you collected the data. Once you collected the data in the sense it doesn't give us it doesn't give us a picture, real picture. What you can do is you have to analyze this data, right? So there are a lot of analytics techniques. What are the analytics technique? You know, you all have the idea regarding analysis, not in depth. So, but you may know about some normal analytics techniques. What are those things? Excel relevant analysis techniques regarding the dispersion, regarding the central tendency. What are the analyses? Yes? What are the analysis techniques that you know? Analysis techniques, statistical analysis techniques, statistical analysis technique. If you want to describe about the data set, what you can use? You collected the data set, right? You have 100 data points. If you want to identify the dispersion, how you can show the dispersion to the outsiders? Yes, descriptive statistics, right? Mean, median, mode, quartiles, skewness, standard deviation, variance, what those are? Some kind of analysis techniques, descriptive analysis. The other analysis techniques are inferential statistics, descriptive statistics and the inferential statistics. What are the inferential statistics include? Regression, correlation, ANOVA, right? What else? Chi-square, one-way ANOVA, two-way ANOVA, right? Fact analysis. There are some statistical analysis tools, techniques. Once you collected the data, you have to analyze this collected data using some statistical techniques, right? And you have to come to the conclusion. Once you collected this data, you have to analyze. By analyzing it, you need to get a final output. What is called as a conclusion, right? Okay, there is this kind of relationship. For example, if you are going to test the hypothesis, ultimately it gives us you have the statistic knowledge, no, right? When it's come to the hypothesis testing, you develop the hypothesis, right? And then once you collected the one throughout this data, you are going to ultimately identify whether the hypothesis is accepted or else no. What are the techniques that you can use? What are the techniques that you have used? Yes, you have done those things now. How you can come to the conclusion whether to accept or else reject the hypothesis? Yes, how? How you can determine whether to accept or else reject the hypothesis? Statistics. First year, second semester. Yes? Did you remember you have drawn the normal distribution curve and you have to identify based on the population or else based on the sample data, you have to identify where the line is existing in the normal distribution curve, and so is it in the rejection area or else acceptance area, and accordingly are determined. You have to go to the tables, you have to look at the table figures and identify whether it is in rejected or else acceptance area. And that is how you have identified whether to accept or else reject the hypothesis according to your statistic knowledge, right? In research, we are not going to do this analysis throughout the written format. We are asking some softwares to, on behalf of us, okay, we'll give the command to the software on behalf of us, okay, perform this analysis techniques. So then they will give us the report, right? But with your statistical knowledge, you may be able to identify to accept or else reject the hypothesis, or else you may should have the knowledge to interpret this data or else interpret this output, right? Ultimately, you have to come to the conclusion whether to accept or else reject this hypothesis based on your analysis report. Right? In our example, whether we are accepting there is a relationship between ESG reporting and the environmental performance or else no. What is it? Deductive approach. Right? We are calling it as a deductive approach. What we have done, so we have the existing theory. Let's take for the ESG reporting, natural resource based theory. Right? Natural resource based theory, right? That is the theory where it confirms all of the companies, all of the organizations adapting some techniques towards if they are adapting some technique only if they have the competitive advantage. Right now we are going to testing it. What is our competitive advantage? Environmental performance. Is it increasing? Is this ESG reporting increasing the environmental performance? Right. So now what we have done, we have formulated the hypothesis. There is a relationship between ESG reporting and the environmental performance. Collected the annual reports data, right? During the 5 years or else 10 years. Now we'll give the command to the software to analyze this data and come to the conclusion. And then the analysis software give us the report. Right? So looking at this report, we are identifying whether to accept our hypothesis or else no. What is our hypothesis? ESG reporting is enhancing environmental performance. If it is yes, we can accept our hypothesis. If the output is not giving us a proper answer, we can reject the hypothesis. There are some criteria. P-value should be less than 0.5 or a 0.1, and there are a lot of criteria, right? We will identify those criteria later on. Right? So this is the approach called the deductive approach or else deductive reasoning. What do you mean by the inductive? Inductive in the sense you are not testing the theory, you are going to develop a theory. Deductive in the sense you are testing the existing theory, whereas inductive in the sense you are going to formulate a theory, right? Specific observation. How you can formulate a theory, right? How you can formulate a theory. Within 1-2 days you can develop a theory? No. It's a long process, right? It may be taking sometime 5 years, 10 years, or else 1 year. Likewise, right? How you can go to the development of a theory? Initially, you have to identify the observation. Specific observation is there, right? For example, okay, we'll take the example. Always, students are, when it comes to the physical classes, right? Okay, it will be not suitable for it. Okay, specific observation regarding the employees within the organizations, right? Within the organizations, employees. So even we are giving their turnover is high, right? Let's take the MAs, right? MAs during the last 5 years, last 2 months, their turnover is very high. Employee turnover is high, right? What it is? A specific observation. Turnover is high, reported very high percentage. So then, now regarding this specific observation, you can find the past figures. All right. So even within 2 months, the employee turnover is high. We can turn that back, right? That means 5 years period. What about this employee turnover rate? Right now, we are going to identify the factors affecting for this high employee turnover. Meanwhile, we are observing the turnover rate. Okay, the first factor, right? Incentives, very low incentives. The main factor that we have identified, the low incentives, low financial incentives, right? Regarding these low financial incentives, the employees within the 2020 left the organization 25%. So then regarding 2021, so since the organization is not giving the financial incentives, the employee turnover has been increased up to again 25, right? 2023 to 30. 2024, now it has been reported as the 40%. Now you can identify there is a pattern. There is a pattern of the employee turnover. What kind of pattern? A increasing pattern is there, right? Why? What is the reason? The low financial incentives. Now you can come to the conclusion. What may be the conclusion? Right? Low financial incentives leads to a high employee turnover, right? High employee turnover. That is your general conclusion. Likewise, if you want to develop a new theory, what you can do? Based on the specific observation, you can identify a pattern, right? Pattern identification, through the pattern identification, you can come to the general conclusion, but not for the 2-3 months. You have to observe this pattern at least more than 1 year, right? So that is how you can come to the that is how you can come to the development of a theory. Even you are not able to develop a full theory, you can add something to the new theory also. You can add some components. For example, ESG reporting is identifying what are the components ESG reporting is identifying? What are the components in the ESG reporting? Yes? Yes, what are the components in the ESG reporting? Environmental, yes, social, and what is the other thing? governance, right? ESG. To this ESG component, you can include another component called as the ESG reporting. Let's take another component, new component, right? So the psychology, even it is not relevant for this one. So there may be some correct criteria to be and included to this ESG reporting. That part also can be developed through the inductive process, right? So therefore, to develop always to add that component, a psychology component, for just example, you need to do a research through an inductive process, not the deductive process, right? So therefore, the main difference in between the deductive reasoning and the inductive reasoning is deductive reasoning help to develop a theory, whereas the inductive is applying to test the existing theory. Right. So this is the graphical presentation regarding the deductive and the inductive reasoning. Okay. Research process. Right. So if we are discussing, second lesson is regarding the research process. Therefore, we'll go to the in-depth discussion under the regarding the research process in the next lesson. Just I will explain. So there are some, we can't, this is research in the sense it's a process. What do you mean by a process? What do you mean by a process? So what are the things, basic things that you can identify in the process? Yes? If it is a process, definitely you should have, yes, inputs. And then you have the outputs also. Input, process, output, right? If it is a process, definitely you need the inputs. What are the inputs? The things that we are going to insert to the process, right? Here to do a research, what we need to initiate this process, to initiate this research process, what you need as the input, what you need. Why you are going to search, why you are going to research. What is the reason? Definitely you should have a problem. Right? So if you don't have any problem, you are not going to search it again and again. Right? Therefore, the basic thing is to initiate a research, you should have a problem. Right? Once you have a problem, you have to search on this problem. Right? Where we are calling it as a literature. You have to find the facts. You have to read the books. You have to refer the journal articles. You have to refer the conference proceedings. Right? You have to go to the internet and search on ChatGPT. It's okay. Right? You can't develop the proposal using ChatGPT, but you can take the help from the ChatGPT. That is okay. So then once you identified, or else once you read the similar articles, that means literature review, you can formulate the hypothesis as we discussed previously. So then once you formulate the hypothesis, you have to develop, you have to initiate it. Before moving to the initiation, you have to identify how I can do this one. You should have a structure. You should have a guidance where we are identifying it through the methodology, right? So then once you have the predetermined criteria, so okay, this is the way I'm going to do this one. Now you can collect the data according to the predetermined criteria. Once you collected the data, you can analyze it, right? Or else you can test the hypothesis. Analysis may be done through the softwares, and we are not doing the analysis through the Word documents and etc. The handwriting format. We are normally asking the softwares to analyze our data set. Right. So then once you analyze the data set, you are getting the output. By looking at the output, you can interpret your results and you can report the results. Right. Accordingly, we have right? When you are writing your research, the fourth year, second semester, you have to initiate your research, right? Based on the research topic that you are provided in the third year, first semester. So that is how we are going to allocate the research supervisor. Anyway, you have to start your research. How? When you are starting your research, you have to report it, right? There is a process to doing the research, and accordingly there is a writing pattern also. How many chapters we have to write down? It may be normally 5 to 7, right? So there are several chapters to be included in your dissertation, right? It may be normally in line with the research process also, but the names are different, right? Regarding finding research problems, identifying the background, writing the research questions, writing the research objectives, identifying the scope of the study, limitations are included in the chapter number 1. It is introduction, right? So once you complete the introduction, the second chapter is literature review, right? Or else we are calling it as a LR, literature review, right? What do you mean by literature review? Finding similar articles, right? Finding similar articles, similar studies. If I am referring to the articles, you may be confused, right? Finding similar research to your research, right? Similar articles, similar research, right? Literature review, reading the books, referring the newspapers, take some definitions from the book chapters. We are calling it as a literature review, LR. Methodology, in the methodology, proposed methodology or else methodology, we are including the way how you can do it, how you can prepare to do it. For example, identifying the research sample, identifying a population, sample size, from whom I am going to collect the data, whether I am using the applied research, basic research, descriptive statistics, or else the descriptive studies, or else it is and quantitative analysis, or else is it a qualitative analysis, right? From whom I'm going to collect the data, what is the time duration that I'm going to collect the data. So this is the research methodology, where it indicates the way researcher is going to do this one, right? Then results. You collected the data that which is included in the process. Once you collected the data, you analyze it and then outputs or else results, right? Results should be included as the fourth chapter, or else it may be named as the findings also, right? Once you provided the results, now you have to discuss it. What is the difference between results and the discussion? So some of the students are not including the discussion part. So they don't have the idea regarding the difference. They don't have the idea regarding difference between results and the discussion. What is the difference between results and discussion? Result in the sense the output that you received through the analysis software. Discussion in the sense once you get this output, you have to describe or else you have to interpret your results. Meanwhile, you have to compare your findings with the other researchers' findings where we have conducted it through the literature review. As I previously told you, literature review in the sense identifying the similar articles to your study, right? Once you identify that kind of similar articles and now you have done the research and you get some separate results, right? Okay, let's take, I don't know whether he's available or is no, Roshan, right? Roshan conducted research on the board diversity and the environmental performance, right? Before 5 years back, right? So then Taruka, Ta, Taruka, right? Taruka, 16B, 16A Mochi student, he is now conducting the research regarding the board diversity and firm financial, environmental performance, right? Once he conducted the research, his output is board diversity is not impacting to the firm's environmental performance, whereas 5 years back, right, Roshan, he has identified in his research there is a positive relationship between board diversity and the environmental performance of a firm, right? So this is a contradictory scenario. Last one, previous findings. One finding shows that there is a positive relationship. There is a relationship, but in Taruka research, what happened? There is no relationship. Whereas Dulakshi, right? Dulakshi also conducted the same research 3 years back, and she is going to show, according to her findings, right? So there is a no negative relationship. But in the Taruka research today, his research gives there is a no relationship. You can identify regarding the same research topic, there may be several findings. Roshan, positive, Dulakshi, negative, and then Taruka, no relationship, right? So you have to discuss these things in the discussion chapter, right? Discussion chapter. Whereas contradictory plus the similar findings. So conclusion, once you discuss your findings with the results or as output, you have to come to the conclusion. In here, the research regarding Taruka, right? Taruka research, board diversity, according to his findings, there is no relationship between board diversity and the firm environmental performance. That is his conclusion, right? So if there, right? So conclusion, based on the conclusion, you can include some recommendations, right? Recommendations. What do you mean by the recommendation? Based on the findings that you have, you can recommend some new initiatives to the theories, or else the managers, or else the government, or else the whatever the stakeholders that are referring to your research. Recommendation, new initiatives, new implications can be included in this chapter. It may be the conclusion / recommendations, right? So these are the core chapters you have to include your research. How many chapters? Introduction, literature review, second chapter, methodology, third chapter, fourth chapter, discussion, results, fifth one, discussion, last one, conclusion and recommendation. Right. Okay. So what is the role of the manager in developing the research? Is there any relationship between, or else is there any impact of the manager to this research field? Yes or no? Who are the managers? As you know, there may be some managers here from the exemption batch. Neither. What do you mean by a manager? He is the person who is overall looking at the organizational operations. There may be 3 layers according to your management knowledge. How many layers? 3 layers. So what are those 3 layers? Yes. Managerial levels, operational level. What is the other level? Yes. Managerial levels. Yes. Yes.
Strategic level.
Executive
Strategic
level.
level.
Executive level, basic 3 levels. So what are those 3 levels? Top level, top level, middle level, and the what is the other one?
Low level.
Operational level managers. The operational level managers, middle level managers, and the top level managers. Right. Okay. So within these three layers, there are some managers. Fine. Are these managers dealing with daily operations? Exactly. Always the managers are dealing with the operations. Right. What kind of operations? Yes. What kind of operations? It may be marketing, it may be management, it may be the finance, it may be the accounting, it may be the tax, it may be the other way around, human resource management, HR relevant questions, right? Likewise, there are some areas also. Right? So within these areas, there are several managers and they are dealing with the daily operations. When they are dealing with the daily operations, are they always facing to the problems? Exactly. There are some practical issues. What are the practical issues that they are facing? Yes, managers here. What are the practicals they face? What are the practical issues they are facing daily context? High turnover, what it is? A problem. What else? Low salaries. Even they are performing very well, they are getting low salaries. High employee turnover. What else? Low sales. Right? Even they perform very well, marketing department, they are getting the low sales. What else? Yes. Production process issues, supply chain management issues, right? To handling the creditors, to handling when they are handling the creditors, debtors, other payables, they may have the problems. Always they are facing the problems. It may be sometime small problem, it may be sometime big problem. Right? Anyway, when they are dealing with the daily operations, they are facing the lot of practical problems. How it impacting to the research? Yes, how these problems may be impacting to the research. If it is a small problem, right? Okay, there may be 70. Yes, there are 74 students here. Previously, there were 71 students. That means there are some newcomers, right? So, for this online lecture, it's okay. There are some latecomers. It's all right. Okay, I can neglect it. I can solve it by asking the reasons why you didn't participate late for this class. Likewise, I can ask some justification from them and I can sort out it. But if I'm conducting the online lectures for the next or in the future, if there are low participant, right? If the participants are very low, it's a little bit problem to me, right? Why? The low participants, right? Low participation for the lecture. It's a problematic thing, right? So then what I can do? Next week, 50, right? Then the fourth week, 20. And next week, fourth week, 10. Now what happened? The absenteeism is very high, right? Now it's a problematic thing to me. In that scenario, can I ask the question and can I ask justification and let them to go? No, right? I have to identify the factors behind this, right? Why the students are not participating for this online lecture. I have to investigate, right? I have to ask not the justification, I have to inquire it. I have to collect the data and sort it out, right? So what it is? A kind of searching, right? It's a research, right? That means when it's come to the practical context, right? So if it is a small problem, a minor problem, managers can solve it. But if they are facing the same problem daily, right, monthly, if their problem is little bit uh, huge with compared to the other daily operations, what they can do, so they can initiate a research, or else they can direct that problem to the research and development department to initiate a research. They can direct that problem. So there is a problem like this, can you research for this one? Right, so they are high. Regarding the MS, the absenteeism or else the turnover is high. So this is a daily issue to us, right? So during the last 5 years, our employee turnover is very high. Research, we are passing the problem to the research and development department. Okay, initiate a research and identify the factors, what it is. The manager's role. Therefore, the manager is the person who is initiating the, or else who is identifying the organizational practical issues. So that is why if these doesn't have the any research and development, what they can do, so they can do the research, right? The managers can initiate the research and continue it, right? Anyway, the manager is the person who is grab this research problem first in the practical context. So therefore, as the managers, as the future chartered accountants, you may getting the lot of research, lot of practical problem in your daily or else work life, right? So therefore, so this is the research subject. Why we have included this research subject to the your curriculum? You should have always you have the statistical knowledge. You identify the statistics subject. You faced it, and then you have the mathematics also. So there are some other subjects who are developing which are developing your analytical skills, right? You have the analytical skills. What research in the sense, we bring the analytical skills into the academic disciplines, and we are lecturing you to how you can do a research with the analytical skills, how you can apply this analytical skill in the academic way. So therefore, as a future managers, you all, or else as the managers, you have to identify the problems and you have to find the answers. If the problem is not a daily life problem, you have to initiate a research, or else you need to direct that problem to the research and development to initiate the research. So this is the role of the manager in the research. Okay, next one. Research paradigm and the philosophies. What do you mean by a paradigm? Yes, paradigm. Yes. Paradigm is a system of belief, ideas, values, or habit that form the basis for the way of thinking about the world. Right? Paradigm in the sense, the way you are thinking about the world, your idea, your value, your habit, right? To the way of thinking, right? Research also have the paradigm, right? Research also having the research discipline also have some paradigms. There are several paradigms, right? Research paradigm also help to form the research philosophy. We'll first identify the research, three pillars of the research paradigm, right? So there are three pillars. What are those three pillars? Ontology, epistemology, and the methodology, right? Ontology, epistemology, and the methodology. What do you mean by the ontology? Yes? Ontology. Yes. It addresses the question, what is the reality? Or else what you are going to study. right? We are discussing about the research paradigms, right? So research ontology in the sense, from your research, what you are going to find, right? If let's take an example of blockchain technology or as AI and the fraud detection. Trending research topics, no? AI and the trending, AI and the fraud detection, right? So what do you mean by the ontology of this research? What you are going to find? What you are going to find? Yes. Is there any relationship between AI and the fraud detection? That is what you are going to search, right? Your objective is what? Your aim is to what? To identify yes, there are any impact of the AI implementation on the fraud detection, right? You all are the future chartered accountants. So therefore, AI and the fraud detection is very important to you, right? Epistemology, right? Is the study of knowledge and is asked about how possible to know the reality, right? How you can gather the research data, right? How you can know this, how you can know about this AI detection or AI and the research, AI and the fraud detection, epistemology. That means the study of knowledge. You have to acquire the knowledge. You have to find the similar articles, right? So what are their findings? What others' research findings? Epistemology. How you can identify the knowledge, right? Methodology. What do you mean by the methodology? So methodology, the way how you can discover the reality, right? We have the objective. We are going to identify whether there is impact of AI implementation on the for fraud detection. How we can do this research, right? How we can find the answers for the research questions. Likewise, what are we going to use the questionnaire? Are we going to use the primary data, right? How I can identify the AI, right? What is my sample, right? What is my population? Am I going to collect the data from the chartered accountants, or else am I going to collect the data from the public government accountants? AI detection and the fraud. AI and the fraud detection. Likewise, the methodology, how you actually discover the reality. What is your reality? Right? What is the reality? Is there any relationship? Is there any impact of the AI on the AI on AI on the fraud detection? That is the reality that we are going to find. How we can actualization this reality. How you can find the actual reality, whether there is a relationship, the way of you are doing it methodology. How you can collect the data regarding AI. How you can collect the data regarding the detection, fraud detection, epistemology, the way of your collecting the knowledge is the study of knowledge, epistemology, right? Therefore, research paradigm has three pillars: ontology, epistemology, and the methodology, right? So therefore, you can get the paradigm in the sense ontology plus epistemology plus the methodology. Okay. So then positivist research philosophy. We have research philosophies, right? Research philosophies. How many research philosophies we have? Three philosophies, right? Three philosophies. What are those three philosophies? Constructivism, and then interpretivism, and then what is the other one? Positivist research philosophy, right? Positivist research philosophy. What do you mean by positivist research philosophy? Right? There is a single objective, right? So there is a one single truth. right? That means they are rely on their observation through the sense of gain knowledge of their surrounding, right? Positive is, so research in the sense it has a huge evolution, right? So in this evolution, we are identifying, right? We are identifying in the first era, right? This philosophy, the researchers think that there is only the truth. What do you mean by the truth? ලෝකේ තියෙන එකම දෙයක් එක හැම දෙයක්ම වෙන්නේ එකම විදියට කියලා අපි හිතුවා. Right? That means there is a one single objective reality. People can know this reality by actualizing, describing the explanation. That means if there is a firm, let's take the dividend policy and the firm value, right? Dividend policy always positively impacting to the firm value to increase it. Positivist research philosophy, right? So we call it as there is the truth. In this era, there is the truth, right? Next one, again, after the positivist research philosophies, so there are some researchers identified, no, that is not the happening thing. So there is not the truth, there is a truth, right? Interpret research philosophies. They believe that the different people in the society experience and understand in the different ways, right? Okay, dividend policy is there, but it is impacting in the different ways. Sometimes it may be positive, sometimes it may be negative, and sometimes there is no relationship, right? So there is a single experience. The different people in the society, their view is different regarding a one thing. The different, they have the different view. Interpretivism research philosophies. Last one, we are identifying here, we are naming it as there is a truth, right? In the sense, we, in what kind of scenarios we are using a. Yes? What kind of scenarios we are using a?
Uncertain.
Sariputta?
Uncertain.
Uncertain, or else we are using the in the sense if there is only one thing to the word, we are taking the word the, right? If it is a in the sense, yes, if it is in the sense, it may be uncertain, it may be different scenarios. That is why we have the other, not only one thing. Right? So there are several things. Right? So that is why we are taking the word right? Last one, constructivism. Right? Constructivism in the sense, reality is constructed of our mind. Right? That means all knowledge come from our experience and reflection of those experience and oppose the idea that there is a single methodology to generate the knowledge, right? That means qualitative method. In the sense, we different truths are there. These different truths are identifying or else described based on their perception, right? Previously, there is one truth, but the different ways. Before moving to that one, positive is in the sense only one truth, and all of us looking at this one truth in the single method. But in the second method, there is a one truth, but different ways. People are thinking about that in different ways. And last one, constructivism in the sense, so there is different truth, and according to the mindset of the researcher, their perception is different regarding this different truth, right? So which leads to the qualitative research, positivism in the sense, or as positivist in the sense, most probably quantitative methodologies. And again, interpretivism in the sense, again, qualitative methodologies. Here, constructivism in the sense, again, qualitative methodologies, right? Okay, right. Last one. Before moving to the last component, we are identifying now problems, questions, and the objectives, right? Don't worry, we are identifying how to form the problem, how to form the question, and the other objective. as a lesson here, since this is the introduction session to the research methodology, we'll just identify what do you mean by a problem, question, and the objective. What do you mean by a problem, right? In what kind of scenarios you are creating, or else you are generating, or else you are identifying a problem? Are you hungry now? At what time you need break? Yes? No idea? So then we'll continue up to 3.
Yes, madam.
No idea. We'll continue up to 3 without having a break.
We are hungry now.
Wow. You don't need breaks. Very enthusiastic students, no? Very good. Right. That means I want to create a problem from that scenario. I was unable to create a problem. Right. So I hope you need the break. Expected answer was you need a break. Right. But actually you are not getting the break. Right. So at this is the, yes, 111, no? 115. Right. So 115, you need a break. You are hungry. Right. But at the moment, I'm not giving you the break. So what it is? There is a gap. What is the expectation to have a break? But actually, lecturer is neither. There is a boring lecture. What it is? That is the actual scenario. What it is? There is a difference between expected results and the actual results, where it leads to a problem. Right? Why always there is a problem? If our expectations are not met, what happened? We are creating it as a problem. We are thinking it as a problem, right? So for an example, we need high salaries. Next month, we need, from the next year, we need salary increment, but we are not getting it. What it is? Actually problem. We are trying to move in towards another company. The problem is low salary, right? Low salary or else no incentives. What it is? A problem, right? In the research context, in the academic context, as the managers, you can identify the practical issues, right? You can identify the practical issues, and then it leads to you can convert these practical issues to a research problem, right? Research problem. Problem statement. It's an area of concern and a condition to be improved, a difficult to be eliminated, or else troubling question that exists in a scholarly literature in theory or else practice at the point the need for the meaningful understanding and deliberation in investigation. That means the problem statements, if you have the problem, so there are several gaps, whereas it called as a theoretical gap, population gap, knowledge gap, the methodological gap, empirical gap. Like us, there are several gaps. Previous, what do you mean by a gap? The difference between expected results and the actual results. Based on this gap, we identify the academically, we have 7 gaps, right? So based on this gap, you have to describe your problem, or else nutshell you describe about your problem. If you have the low salaries, you describe it. You need to describe, right? At least 2 pages, 3 pages you need to describe. For example, poverty in Sri Lanka, right? Or else unemployment in Sri Lanka. Unemployment in your problem. Let's take the example from your end. AI detection, forensic accounting education and AI and the forensic accounting education and the skills and detecting frauds, right? So you may have some idea regarding that one. So in the audit firms, in listed PLCs or else listed companies in Sri Lanka, right? So this is the problem we have. What is it? Whether the forensic accounting knowledge is impacting to the identification of AI detection of chartered accountants in listed listed companies in CSC. Even they have knowledge, whether they are capable to identify it. Even you have the knowledge, neither you can't do something in practical, So therefore, we are questionable on this thing. Why? How you can describe it? Right? How you can describe this problem? So in what kind of scenario we are creating this kind of problems? If the frauds are very high in the listed listed companies in Sri Lanka, right? Fraud declaration or else the detecting fraud is very high. They are reporting a lot of frauds. Right? So there may be a lot of frauds in the internal process. According to the central bank report or else according to the annual reports, we can identify there are some lot of frauds happening in these PLCs, in the listed companies in Sri Lanka. Right? They provide the base for us. Once we look into this annual report, Daily Mirror, newspaper articles, and the website articles, the gossips, right? So we feel that all of the forensic accountants are chartered accountants, right? Why even they have the enough capabilities, they are not able to identify in these frauds? So there is a question, right? Likewise, you can describe your problem step by step, right? Once you describe your problem, you have to you have the problem, no? It may be several concerns, right? It may be several parts. Even you have several parts, several description regarding this research problem, ultimately you may be able to concise this, right? You may be able to summarize your problem in a one sentence where we call it as a problem statement. As a researcher, once you read the summarized research problem statement, you may be able to identify or else you may be able to define or else imaginate your research problem in detail. You should provide a clear idea to these readers by this concise statement, right? Whereas we are calling it as a research problem statement. Problem එක අපි හදන්න ඕන තමයි. Problem එක අපි develop කරන්න ඕනේ. Background එකත් එක්ක problem එකනේ. මේ ප්‍රශ්නය අපි කතා කරන්නේ. අපේ research එකට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ මේ. මොකද්ද ප්‍රශ්නේ? ඇයි අපි මේක කරන්නේ? ඒක වාක්‍යකින් පිටුවකින් ලියන්න බෑ. ඒක ලියන්න ඕනේ. Step by step අපි ලියලා. අපි අවසානයේ ලියනවා මෙන්න මේ කරුණු නිසා. මෙන්න මේ වගේ facts නිසා මම conclude කරනවා මගේ problem statement එක to the one sentence, right? As a reader, once the readers reading your research, by looking at your problem statement, they should be able to imagine your research problem, right? Therefore, it should be very clear, concise statements that guided to your research questions. Questions. What do you mean by questions? Is a question that study or else research project aim to answer, right? Research problem in the sense it having a broader concept, right? Whereas question in the sense how you can fulfill, how you can achieve the way of achieving your research problem. Simply you can divide your problem. Once you are answering for this problem, you can divide this problem into the questions, several steps, several segments, right? For example, regarding what is our research problem? Accounting knowledge, forensic accounting knowledge and the fraud detection. right? Forensic accounting knowledge and the fraud detections of the listed companies in Sri Lanka with special reference to the chartered accountants in Sri Lanka, chartered accountants, or its perspective of chartered accountants, right? So we are doing the research. What is our problem? This is our research topic. Research problem. Is there any impact of the forensic accounting knowledge on the fraud detection? For detection of for detection of license company, the listed companies in Sri Lanka, right? So that is our problem. How you can achieve this problem? Can you go to the industry just and ask from the questions, ask the question, so do you have the knowledge and why you are not going to detect this problem? Likewise, no, you can't, right? As the first step, when you are going to solve this problem, when you are going to answer this problem, you have to divide your problem into several segments. We are calling it as questions, right? Questions. What may be the questions for our example? Yes. You can first test the level of forensic level of forensic education of these chartered accountants. Even they qualified with, okay, if you complete the chartered complete the chartered syllabus, as well as once you complete the practical training, the case studies, and complete the exams, complete the practical trainings and all the viva, definitely you may be having the knowledge. There is no any doubt for the knowledge regarding the chartered accountant. For my example, I'm just taking. So even they have the qualification, what kind of level they have there regarding their education, regarding their knowledge, right? So therefore, as the first step, you can check their levels of knowledge. Even they are high expert, or else even they have the middle level knowledge, or else even they have the low inclusion regarding this forensic education, and likewise, what kind of skills they have. Or else another question is, what kind of skills, right? Are they practically using these skills? What is it? A question. Right? The first question, therefore, it may be identifying what is the level of forensic knowledge of these chartered accountants. Identifying the levels of knowledge. Right? What may be the second question? Once we have identified the levels of there. What is our aim? To identify how this forensic accounting knowledge impacting to the fraud detection. First, we have identified their knowledge. Second, what may be the question? Sorry. Yes. Second, you can test once you identified their knowledge levels. Now you can apply your main question. What it is? What is the impact of forensic accounting education on the AI detection of the licensed companies or listed companies in Sri Lanka, right? Like the second question. Likewise, you are not able to identifying the answer for the problem first. You have to divide your problem into the subsegments, and accordingly, you have to develop the questions. Objectives, right? Objectives are the outcomes that you aim to achieve by the conducting research. Do you have objectives? Exactly. You may have some goals. You may have some targets. What do you mean by a target? What do you mean by your objective? What do you mean by a aim? So there are some differences. I'm not going to concern about the differences when it's come to the management. So the goal is not goal is not similar to the objectives, and the mission is not similar to the vision and likewise. Here we are going to identify just broader sense objective goal, right? So what do you mean by a goal? Definitely you have a target to achieve, right? In your so since you all are the SAP students, you may have the objective to become a chartered accountant or else to become a to have the degree. What it is? It's your objective, right? So by doing your 4 years degree program, your objective is to have the degree program. Or else if you are coming from the exemption, you want to double qualified. You want to make the double qualified, right? So that means what it is. This is your objective, right? So by doing a research, what you're expecting to fulfill or else to finish your research question or else to answer for the questions or else to find the solutions this problem. At the end of your research, you should able to answer for your objective. So therefore, the outcome that you are aim to achieve conducting the research is identifying the objective. ඔයාලා මේ ඩිග්‍රී එක කළා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඔයාලගේ objective එක මොකද්ද? ඩිග්‍රී එක complete කරගැනීම. මේ එක්සෑම්ස් ලියන්නේ ඇයි? ඩිග්‍රී කම්ප්ලීට් කරගන්න. ඩිග්‍රී එක ගන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයාලා මේ එක්සෑම්ස් එක්සෙම්ෂන්ස් අය මේ ගන්නේ ඇයි? එක්සෙම්ෂන්ස් අය ඩිග්‍රී එක කරන්නේ ඇයි? dual qualifications හදාගන්න. That is what your objective, right? So therefore, once you identify the research questions, definitely questions converted to the objective, where objective leads to achieve or else the objective is the outcome that you expect to fulfill doing this research, right? So now you can identify any similarities in between three: problem, question, and the objective. Problem in the sense a broader concern, right? So what is the main issue we have to initiate the problem, to initiate this research? Why I am doing this research? What is the reason to do this research? Right? What is it? Problem, right? So why I have selected this research? A problem, right? Generate your problem, right? Then the question, yeah, you can't answer for the question problem just, right? So therefore you have to answer this problem by dividing the problem into several segments. We are calling it as a questions, right? Questions. Question is converted to the objective. Even you have a question, exactly, that is your objective, right? So you convert this question into the objective. That means once you receive the results, your outcome, the outcome that you want to expect is, that you want to achieve is your research objective, right? Okay. So therefore these three components are very similar, as well as there is a flow of developing the objectives, questions, and the problem. We will be identifying those things when it's come to the third and fourth lesson. Right. Okay. So that is the end of the first lesson. Any questions? 1:30, no? Okay. Shall we have a 5 minutes break?
Okay.
You don't need break.
Yes, madam.
You don't need break.
We need a break.
Okay, that's it. Okay, we'll have 5 minutes break. Okay, but lower your hand. Okay, we'll start. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. The second lesson. So it is research process. Here we are going to discuss how to initiate or else how to start our works as with in line with the research process, and then so how you can select a research topic. So what are the components you need to include to the research topic. Right. So learning objectives and learning outcomes. Right. So actually, no research without action, no research without action, no action without research. What do you mean by this one? No research without action and no action without research. Yes. Research in the sense always you have to do it, right? You have to do it practically. Always you need to do something. It may be collection of data, it may be identifying the methodology, it may be actually collecting the data, right? So it may be analyzing. Always research in the sense you have to do some work or else action. There is action. Therefore, if you can't do the research without action. Always your action is needed for research. Therefore, no action without research as well as no research without any action. Therefore, you have to start your process now. All right. So at the end of this lesson, there may be some activities as well as we are moving towards the portfolio activity number 1. Right. Sorry. Right. So now we'll identify the research process, right? So as we discussed previously, if you want to do a research, you need to find a problem, right? So problem is the first thing that you are guided or is that why you are moving towards the research, right? What kind of problems? From where you can find the problems? Yes, from where you can find the problems? Yes. From where you can find the problem. Research problems. Yes. Based on your personal interest, right? So if you have the personal interest regarding some research, right, you can find a research problem in that kind of area. What are those areas? What are those personal interested areas if you like to do a research on the sustainability, right? sustainability. You can find a problem on the sustainability area. If you are like to do a research in the auditing field, right? You like to do a research in auditing and taxation. You can find a problem in the practical world, problem in the auditing as well as the taxation. What kind of problems? Personal interest. Your personal interest is regarding the taxation. What kind of problems? So there may be some new tax policy changes. How the new changes, new tax policy changes impacting for the organizational growth, right? You are questionable on this area. Likewise, you can identify the problem in taxation auditing. What may be? Sustainability, financial reporting, if you are interested in the financial reporting, or else standard adaptation, right? Adapting standards, right? And then management accounting, Kaizen costing, right? Six Sigma, management accounting practices. If you are interested in the finance, corporate finance, right? Behavioral finance, right? So investor sentiment, right? Likewise, you may have some personal interest regarding some areas. If you are interested based on your interest, you can find a research problem. What else? Based on the social problem. What do you mean by the social problem? Yes, poverty. Sri Lankan inflation, poverty, unemployment. So those are actually social problem, right? So therefore you can find the problem. You can find the problem in social problems, right? You can create a problem. Testing theories, how you can identify testing the theory. If you are interested regarding the stewardship theory, that actually even it has been confirmed by someone else, actually is it happening, right? Is it the real world? Is it happening in the real world context? Is it happening in the manufacturing companies? You are questionable, right? You are questionable on testing theory. You can select that kind of research, prior research, right? You can identify a problem in by reading the prior research. How? Yes, as we have taken the previous example, Roshan and the Taraka and the Dulakshi, right? So there are three contradictory findings, right? So therefore you can, another person called Nimesh. So since there are some three findings from the three researchers, Nimesh can do a research on the same research topic, ESG reporting and the environmental performance. What it is, what is the base based on the prior research, right? Next one, for the program evaluation. If we want to evaluate the SAP campus, SAP undergraduates performance, right? So what we can do as a program evaluation, we can start the research, right? Or else, if we are going to have a 6-month English programs, orientation programs. Okay, let's take as example. I don't know whether you have faced or else no for the bridging. If we have the previous before 2 months or else before moving to the intake 18B, we had the bridging sessions, right? If we want to identify the evaluation, if we want to identify the results, or else if we want to evaluate these bridging sessions, we can do a research, right? As a program evaluation. Well, we are questionable on, even we are conducting a bridging session, is that worthwhile to the students? Or is that worthwhile to this program? Is it creating any impact to the students' progress? Right? Likewise, human services practices. So what are the human services practices? Healthcare, education, likewise, human services are there, right? So if you are questionable on those things, provided the healthcare facilities to the Sri Lanka, even we are providing a healthcare facilities free, is it impacting for the well-being of Sri Lankan population, right? So per human services practices, you may have find the problems on human services practices. Some minorities in research, right? What do you mean by minorities? The Tamil people in rural area. So the rural area people in rural area, people in Sri Lanka, right? Likewise, minorities can be identified in Sri Lankan context. If you want to identify their progress, their behavior, their lifestyle, you can do a research, right? You can identify a problem in that kind of areas. So therefore, in this kind of areas, using this kind of interest and areas, you can create a problem which lead to a initiation for your research, right? Research problem. So then once you identify the problem, now you have a problem, right? Based on your problem, you have to initiate the next step. How you can initiate the next step? You have to refer the previous findings. You have to refer the similar papers. Right? If you are going to conduct your research in 2025, you need to refer the articles or else research done in the 2023, 2024, likewise. Right? So what it is? What it is? Reviewing the literature, right? So when you're reviewing the literature, so not only the articles, but also you can refer some concept regarding the fraud detection. What is regarding the fraud detection? Is there any circle? Yes, exactly. The fraud detection triangle is there. Fraud triangle is there. What it is? It's a concept. If you are going to do a research regarding the fraud detection, you should refer some models. You should refer some theories. If you are going to do a research regarding sustainability, you have to find a theory, concept regarding the sustainability. You have to read those things. If you have a problem, if you have a problem regarding some practical context, regarding this problem, there may be some concepts, there may be some theories. You have to search on these theories, right? And then meanwhile, you have to identify the previous research findings. You have to review the previous research findings, right? If, for example, you can do it other around also. If you have a problem, you can find this, you can type that problem in the internet and you can find the previous findings. While you are reading the previous findings, though they may be emphasized as, okay, regarding this kind of areas, you may can refer this kind of this kind of theories, this kind of concepts likewise, right? So what it is? Literature review. So therefore, we are dividing literature review into two components, theoretical literature review and the empirical literature review. Theoretical literature means in the sense we are reviewing the concepts and theories relevant for our study, whereas empirical findings are stated under the empirical literature review, or similar papers, similar findings should be stated under the empirical literature review, right? So once you find out the similar papers, similar concept, you have to develop your graphical presentation regarding your research. You need to show your research in a graphical, where we are calling it as a conceptual framework, right? So what is our research framework? We have to conceptualization it. What kind of things we are going to do? Even we have a problem, what is our what are our variables, right? So what we are going to find. So you have to graphically show it to the outsiders or as readers, right? Once you graphically show your research based on the graphical presentation, you with the support of the literature review, you need to formulate the hypothesis. Right? Hypothesis. Previously, we identified what do you mean by a hypothesis, a testable statement, right? A testable statement. So then once you draw your conceptual framework, once you conceptualization your research and develop the hypothesis, you have to identify your design, how I'm going to do it, right? So I had the hypothesis. To test the hypothesis, what kind of population I should include to my research, what kind of sample I need to take, what is the sample size, right? Can I go to the Sri Lankan context, right? Can I collect the data from entire population? Can I collect the data from entire Colombo district customers regarding the commercial banks? No, I can't. So therefore, you have to limit your study to some sample. So therefore, the way you are going to do your research, which is identified to the research design, should be identified as the fourth step. It includes population, sample, unit of analysis, sample size, data analysis techniques, softwares that you are going to use, what kind of data analytic techniques, tools that you are going to use to analyze your research data, right? What is your research type? Is it quantitative, qualitative? What kind of approach you are going to use? Deductive, inductive? What kind of research philosophies? What is the time horizon? Is it a is it a 22 to 24? Is it a 25-year to 22 to 23? Likewise, or else 10 years back data. Am I going to collect the time series data, panel data, pool data? Likewise, the design of your study, right? Then if you have a wedding in the next month, right? Assume you have a wedding in the next month. So then what you can do? You have to design your outfit. Ne? So therefore, likewise, in your research also, if you are going to do a research, first you need to design it. මේ frock එක තමයි අඳින්නේ මම wedding එකට. නේද? Sleeveless. එහෙම අපි කියලා මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ සාරි එක තමයි අඳින්නේ. මේ කලර් එක මෙහෙම තමයි වෙන්න ඕනේ. මම මේ ලාස්ට් වීක් එකේ වෙඩින් එකට අඳින්නේ yellow කලර් එකක්. එහෙනම් මම purple කලර් එකක් අඳිනවා සාරි එක. Likewise නේද? මේ heels දානවා. මේ jewelries ගන්නවා. match කරනවා මම සාරි එක. Likewise, what we can do? We have to design it. Likewise, in the research also, you need to design your study before moving to the collection of data. Once collected the data, once you design your research, next step is collecting the data. Okay, now I have the intention. Let's take an example. Management accounting practices, organizational performance. Right, I'm going to conduct a research on management accounting practices, the impact of management accounting practices on organizational efficiency. Right, efficiency with the perspective of management accountants in manufacturing industry. Manufacturing companies, listed manufacturing companies, right? Management accounting practices and the organizational efficiency, right? So I have designed my study. I have already designed. I should collect the data from the management accountants, and so my sample is manufacturing companies, listed manufacturing companies. So there are a lot of manufacturing companies listed in the Colombo stock. Okay, out of that one, so based on the capitalization, based on the highest capitalization, I'm taking only 5 manufacturing companies. So that is which lead to my sample. So I have designed through this. I have designed my research in the previous stage. Now I'm going to collect the data from whom? Management accountants who are currently engaged in listed 5 or 10 manufacturing companies that I have selected from the CSC data based on the capitalization. I have to collect the data now. Right? Once I collected the data, right? So I have to analyze it. How I can analyze it? So as I previously described you, there are 2 statistical techniques, descriptive and the inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics are, we are taking descriptive statistics to describe the dispersion, central tendency, or else to describe the data set, we are taking the descriptive statistics, right? Mean, median, mode, quartiles, skewness, standard deviation, variance, and likewise. So then inferential statistics to run a test, right, to identify whether there is a relationship, whether there is impact, whether it is mediated. Likewise, if we want to do an analysis, we are going to go for the we are going to use the inferential statistics. Inferential statistic in the sense statistical techniques ANOVA, regression, correlation, one-way ANOVA, chi-square test, and the two-way ANOVA, multiple regression, linear regression. Likewise, there are a lot of analysis techniques. What are the softwares that we can use? Research softwares, SPSS, we have the eViews, in vivo, smart PLS. So there are right R blueprint also there. Yes, blueprint. What? Okay. මට හරියට මේ නම මතක නැහැ. Blue statistics. Blue statistics also there. Likewise, Starter there. Right? There are a lot of research softwares. Right? Most probably we are taking the eView, Smart PLS, and the SPSS. Likewise. So then once we ask the software, this kind of softwares to run the test based on our identified, based on our collected data, they will run the test, regression and likewise. So once we have the output, now as a final stage, you need to interpret this output, right? And you have to write the report. This is the process of research, right? Process of research. Okay. Regarding the literature review, right? Regarding the second one. Stage number 2, review the literature, right? We have to identify the theories, concepts, and the similar findings. How we find the information, right? From where? Yes, exactly from the books, from the journals, right? What do you mean? Okay, you know books, book chapters, and likewise journals. Journals. Yes, journals. What do you mean by a journal? General journal. Journals. Journals in the sense. We have how many journals? Not counting journals. We are here referring the. Here we are referring the academic journals, right? So journal in the sense it's a booklet, right? Where it includes a lot of research articles in a summarized manner, right? So then internet. Obvious databases. We have some databases, Scopus, right? As well as the ABC, ABDC ranking journalists are there. So those are some of databases where you can find the best journals, right? Archives also there, interviews, right? Observations. You can observe some data. You can observe some companies' manufacturing process or a supply chain process, and you can identify a problem, right? Reports, annual reports, and the central bank reports, Census and Statistics Department, if they have some reports, records, right? Some records are there. So those kind of are the some of the sources for the. Uta, can you mute your microphone? හරිද? Okay. Okay. Now, online information sources, right? So previously we discussed about the journals, right? And databases. Others are very familiar to us, new interviews, observation reports. Now we are going to identify how we can access for the sum of journals and the sum of databases. Right? So here you can see some. Give me 1 minute. Okay, here you can see some logos, right? Elsewhere, ResearchGate, Sage, Emerald Publishers, SSRN, Springer, Web of Science, Scopus, and then the other show on the other Indian context journals, websites, and likewise. So there are some online information sources. We'll search one by one, right? So you all have the internet access. You all have the internet access. That is why you log into the session now. I hope you with me search on these information sources. It is very important, right? So this is the method that you can find the similar articles, right? So therefore, in the normal context now, practically lecture එකේදී උගන්වනවා ඔයාලා search කරන්න ඕනේ. Anyway, since you have the recorder, you can search later on also. Anyway, these are the very much important online databases where you can access for the similar findings, similar research studies, right? Okay, we'll start with the Emerald Publishing. Okay, the first one is Emerald Insight or else Emerald Publishing, right? You can search on Emerald, typing Emerald Publishing, right? Emerald Insight in the sense it gives us a scholarly articles. Here you can click on the once you search on the Emerald Publishing, you can click on this one. Okay, Emerald Insight, right? Here, so with your preferred area, you can find the similar articles. If it is a sustainability, we'll type it as a sustainability. See here, Emerald Insight give us the sustainability research. right? Sustainability, role of the sustainability professional in constructions and challenges simultaneously, and sustainability marketing. If you want to identify the sustainability, sustainable performance. Sustainable performance. Just type the sustainable performance. See here, influence of corporate social responsibility, green practices, and organizational politics on sustainable business performance. The importance of the employee pre and environmental behavior. Right. So this is a one of article that you can gain throughout the sustainable performance discipline. Right. So then how you can download it? You click on it. Right. So then you can identify the abstract and the design findings, practical implications and keywords and etc. Right. So this is an article where you don't have the access. How you can identify? See here, this is the icon. Right. You don't have the access to open the entire article, but just you can read the abstract, right? Abstract in the sense summarize idea regarding your research, right? So you don't have the so you are, it is not enough to read just only the abstract. You need the full papers read to identify the entire idea regarding the research, right? So next one. Next one also, we don't have the access. Therefore, what you can do is, if you can search only for the only open access journals, right? See here in the access column, in your right hand side, so you may have some two choices, right? Only content I have access to and only open access. Just click on only open access. So then it gives us the open access research articles regarding our preferable discipline, sustainable performance, open access. Open access in the sense you can download that kind of articles. Okay, click on this first article or else whatever the preferable article. So then from the right hand side it gives us the PDF. Click on PDF. Right, now you can download the research article. So this is the full research article. If you can go through this article, you can identify introduction is there. See here, introduction at the end of the first page. And then we have the theoretical review and the hypothesis development. Second one that we have studied. So then next one, research methodology, material and the methods that you are going to do within your research. And then see here results, right? Results. So there may be a lot of results here. And finally, conclusion and the limitations and recommendation. Conclusion and the recommendation, right? So that is how you can download or receive the research articles to the Emerald Insight. If you don't have the access, right, as in the first one, if you don't have the access to these research articles, what you can do, you can click on the, unfortunately, I don't have that facility in the SAM. If you type it as a Sci-Hub, right? Sci-Hub. See here, Sci-Hub. It is the website where you can download the articles regarding if you don't have the access, right? If you don't have the access to the research articles, you can download these articles throughout this hub, right? What you can do is go to the Emerald Insight, click on this HTTP link, copy it, right? Emerald Insight. link you can copy here and you can come to the Sci-Hub and paste it, right? And give the command as the open. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the access to that kind of article. But whereas sometime you may have some access to the, okay, we'll check on then the second article. Second one, right? Again, what you can do, you can download the, you can click on, you can copy the second HTTP link and copy on this Sci-Hub. Okay, I don't have the access. Why? So since I'm taking the CA website or CA Wi-Fi, so I don't have the access. But what is the best method is, Puta, you can copy this website link, right? And then you can paste on the Sci-Hub, right? So once you enter in the Sci-Hub, it gives us the access to the or else restricted journal articles. That is the best method. Type it, make it as a Sci-Hub, right? Refer Sci-Hub. Next one. Okay, this is the method that you can download and weave the emerald inside. Next one, Scopus. Right? Scopus in the sense it's a database, right? It's not a journal publisher. It's having some journal publishers. It's basically provide us a database, right? If you want, you can go to your LMS also. I have uploaded. Yes, I have uploaded Scopus journal list, right? It gives us the ranked journals, right? Journal in the sense it's like a booklet. ඒක නිකන් හරියට පොතක් වගේ. ඒකේ තියෙනවා summary කරපු research articles. ඒතර ඔයාලා journal එකකට ගියපුවාම okay, we'll download it. Okay. See here. It gives a lot of journal articles, right? It gives a lot of journals regarding academic journal of cancer research, right? Likewise, from here, you can download the, okay, you can filter the accounting research journals, right? Okay, we'll come to a one journal, accounting, applied research, applied chemistry. Okay, we'll find it. Accounting. Journal of Universal Journal of Accounting and Finance. Right. So this is the one journal where it includes the accounting and finance article. Once you selected this article, right, once you selected this journal, you can copy it and search on this article, this journal. Okay, see here, this is the Universal Journal of Accounting and Finance. Publications, where are the publications? Okay. Mathematics, psychological, economic, accounting, and finance. Journal of Finance. We don't have the access for that one. You can search another one, right? By selecting a research article, research journal, which is reference to the accounting and finance field, what you can do, you can search on these areas, right? Select one journal and go to the internet and find the journal and go to the similar publications. Read the articles. So that is the better way of identifying the best or else trending research topics. මේක හොඳම වැඩේ තමයි පුතා කරන්න ඕනද මේ ස්කූපුස් හරි ABDC journal rank list එකට ගිහිල්ලා හොඳ journals බලලා ඔයාලට පුළුවන් journal එක ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකේ type කරලා ඒ journal එකේ තියෙන articles බලන්න. මේ කියන්නේ මේව පොත් වගේ හරියට. මේ වගේ තියෙන trending articles. දැන් මෙතනම ගත්තාම accounting finance ගොඩක් research journals තියෙනවා. ඒ journals මේ අපි නැත්තම් වල Indian වගේ journals වල බලන්න එපා. right Indian journals ඔයාලා නිකන් කවදාකවත් research එකක් type කරන්න එපා internet එකේ topic එක. එතකොට එන journals සමහර වෙලාවට අපි එන publications එන articles හොඳ articles නෙමෙයි එන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ නිසා ඔයාලට හොඳම දේ තමයි ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඔයාලා මොකද කරන්න ඕන journal එක list out ද කියලා බලන්න ඕනේ. ඔයාලා මේ කියවන ආටිකල් එක තියෙන ආටිකල් එකට අදාළ ජර්නල් එක කොහේ හරි ලිස්ට් වෙලා තියෙනවද කොහේ හරි රෑන්ක් වෙලා තියෙනවද කියලා බලන්න ඕනේ. The best method, best database that provide you the rank journal is the ABDC and the Scopus journal list. Right. So therefore you have to search on those things. Right. Okay. So that is regarding the databases. We'll go to the next one. Scopus. Next one, elsewhere, right? Elsewhere also giving us a sum of research findings. Okay, Science Direct. See here, right? If you want to identify the research, new research articles, see here, find articles with these terms, right? Accounting, we'll type it accounting. If you want, okay. How does the finance and accounting supervision affect the stock market price, crash risk, right? Developing the STM, designing accounting curriculum, right? So these are what? Accounting, comparability, and the customer concentration. What these are? These are some of research, new research topics, right? Research findings. Here we have the we have the access to weave the PDF also. Okay, we'll read. Okay. Okay, verify I'm a human. Right. So see here, this is a research article, right? It's publication. If you're going through these things, you can identify what they have done in their research, what it provides, the findings or else the similar articles, accounting comparability and the customer concentration. Right. Next one. Next one. Okay. Another best platform that you can download the research findings, research articles, ResearchGate, right? ResearchGate. So I have the access to the ResearchGate, but sometimes you may not having the ResearchGate access. So you have to take the access to the institute. So you should, if there are some 3 conditions or 3 versions, professionals, academic and the student, you have to access to the student version as well as you need the access. You need to have the access to the institutes. I don't know CA and the SAB is having that, providing that kind of institutional recognition for the research gate. So anyway, but if you don't have the that kind of authorization, what you can do is you put the, so they, when you are opening a research gate account, they are asking from you. So the persons who are having three research, you need to name the three persons who are having the research gate access. So then you can easily create an account. So without the permission of the, without recognitions of the institute, right? මෙතන පුතා මේ යන්නේ අර ඉන්ස්ටිටියුට් එකේ සාමාන්‍ය යුනිවර්සිටිස් වලට නම් දෙනවා මේ ඇක්සස් එක අපිට නැහැ මං හිතන විදිහට. එහෙම නැත්නම් එතකොට ඒක සාමාන්‍ය ලොකු process එකක් access එක ගන්නවා කියන එක. එතකොට ඔයාලට බැරි නම් research gate account එකක් හදාගන්න university through access එකෙන් යන්න බැරි නම් ඔයාලට ඊළඟ option එක විදිහට research gate එකේ තියෙන accounts තුනක email address දෙන්න කියලා. එහෙම email address තියෙන accounts තුනක් දුන්නොත් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් open කරන්න research gate account එක. Research gate also very important as well as very interesting and very interesting research platform that you can download the lot of research articles in the PDF manner, right? So therefore try to make the access for the research gate also, right? So research gate also, if you type here sustainability or as board diversity, so they will give us the research articles. Here you need to request the full article, you need to request the full text, but there are some articles which can be downloaded through the open access. Open access කියලා කියන්නේ නිකම්ම download කරගන්න පුළුවන් යට. Right. Okay, see here, board demographic, structural and capital diversity, corporate carbon performance, international evidences. So this is a research, this is also a published article. So the research articles, right? So this is the method that you can, another platform that you can download the research articles or research similar research. මේවට කියන්නේ අපි research articles කියලා. මේවා ගොඩක් එකතු කරලා හදන පොත් තමයි අපි කියන්නේ research journals කියලා. Right. Next one, Taylor and Francis, right? Okay, see here, you can also, this is a kind of database as well as database for the journals, as well as there are some research findings, research articles also. We'll try, okay. And Francis online period. Okay, enter keywords. Let's take accounting. I'm not pretty sure whether they are giving the journal article. They are giving the journals, ne? Okay. I know. See here, so they are giving the, so sometimes so they are giving us the journals as well as here. So they have, yeah, okay. See here, articles. Okay, very correctly they have given us articles. If you want to find the journals regarding the accounting, so there are 211 journals and specific issued and correction, and the databases 17,890 databases. Regarding articles, sir, අපි බැලුවා වගේ කලින් word documents තියෙන මෙන්න මේ වගේ articles ඕන නම් අපිට කීයක් තියෙනවද regarding the accounting term? We have 2,274,660 articles, right? So you can weave the articles and identify the new research areas where you can initiate a research problem. So see here, new institutional accounting IFRS, the effect of financial characteristics on the accounting, conservatism of the listed companies in Vietnam Stock Exchange, likewise. So there are a lot of articles, abstract and the full text. We'll weave the full text. Full stack, okay, view. Access. Okay. This is what? This is the article, entire article. Ne? You can read the entire article by looking while you are reading 2-3 articles, you may be able to identify the research problems, right? So then you can then you can convert the problem into the practical world also, right? So otherwise, if you are reading 2-3 articles, you may be able to identify the areas of the problems. Therefore, you can initiate a problem. You can find a problem easily. So therefore, you need to read the problem. You need to read the similar findings. You need to read the similar articles. You need to refer these things where we are calling it as a literature review. මේවා බලන්න ඕනේ. මේවා කියවන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැතුව අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් හොයාගන්න බෑ. අපි කැමති ඒරියා එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒ ඒරියා එකේ මේ වගේ ආටිකල්ස් හොයන්න. මේ ආටිකල්ස් කියලා කියන්නේ මේ සිමිලර් ෆයින්ඩින්ග්ස්. ඔයාලා කැමති ඒරියා එකේ කරලා තියෙන රිසර්ච් නේ. ඒතර මේ රිසර්ච් එකක් ඔයාලට කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ රිසර්ච් එකකින් ඔයාලට ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් ක්‍රියේට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. රිසර්ච් ආටිකල්ස් මේ වගේ ආටිකල්ස් දෙක තුනක් කියවනකොට ඔයාලට පුළුවන් වෙනවා හොයාගන්න ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් ඇති වෙන ඒරියා එකක්. ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් ක්‍රියේට් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි කියවන්න නැතුව නම් බෑ. Right? Therefore, that is why I included the word no research without action, no action without research. Therefore, you have to initiate your work, right? Okay, we'll back to the lesson. Okay. So once you have identified your research problem, you have to formulate the research topic, right? So how you can formulate the research topic? Formulation of research topic, right? Formulate the research theme and narrow down specific research topic and the narrow down or else expand the topic. Okay, so this is, we'll go to the next one. Especially regarding your research topic, there should be how you can go to the research topic by identifying a research problem. You should first have the research problem, right? How you can identify the research problem? So there are two variables, right? Basic variables, two variables regarding the research, dependent and independent variables. Right? What do you mean by the dependent variable? So it is subject to the dependent variable is always subject to the another variables. Based on the another variable's behavior, the variation in this particular variable is identified. Right? That means it's depend on the other variable called as the independent variable. Independent variable changes and control according to itself. Right? It's independently changing. It's independently controls. Right? So, but what do you want the dependent variable? Always dependent variable is subject to the another independent variable. Always the variation in this particular dependent variable is determined by the independent variable. So therefore, you have to identify the dependent and independent variables. Right? What do you mean by the dependent variable? Always it is subject to the changes of another variable. Right? So then you have to create your problem with regard to this dependent variable. Right? Dependent variable. An example, let's take an example. Financial reporting quality. Factors affecting to the financial reporting quality. Right? What is the dependent variable? Financial reporting quality is the dependent variable. Factors, so that is the independent variable, right? ESG reporting, the impact of ESG reporting on environmental performance, right? So what is the dependent variable? Environmental performance is a dependent variable. ESG reporting or ESG practices are the independent variable, right? So next one, board diversity on corporate governance, right? Board diversity, whether the board diversity impacting, sorry, board diversity on the firm financial performance. Even we change this composition of the board, is it impacting for the firm financial performance? So what is the dependent variable? Dependent variable is firm financial performance. Next one, right? Modern management accounting practices and the organizational performance, or is modern the impact of modern management practices on the organizational efficiency. What is the dependent variable? Organizational efficiency is the dependent variable where it is impacted by the modern management practices, right? Next one, tax changes. Right? Tax changes, tax implications, okay, tax policy changes on the efficiency of SMEs, right? Tax policy changes and the efficiency on the tax policy. The impact of tax policy changes on the efficiency of the SME. So what is dependent? Always SME's efficiency is determined by the tax policy changes according to this scenario. What is the problem? Is the tax policy changes impacting for other tax policy changes impacting for the SME's performance or its efficiency. That is the problem. What is the independent variable? Tax policy changes. It is isolately changes. Even it isolately changes, it is impacting for the organizational performance. Where the organizational or its SME performance is what? That is a dependent variable. So therefore, there is a relationship between this dependent, independent, and the research problem. Once you identified this, always the question or else the research problem is based on dependent variable, right? You are question non-dependent variable. For example, Kalau ganun ini. මැදින් ඔහොම එකක්වත් ප්ලේ වෙනව නම් හොඳයි. නැත්නම් ඔයාලගේ මුණු බලන්නත් නැහැ, කතා කරන ඒවා අහන්නත් නැහැ. මම පස්සේ බලන්න කවුද කියලා. හරි මාක් ඇති මේ lectures එකට. Okay. Right. Nothing to do. Where we have stopped. Okay. Always the research problem is depend on the dependent variable. For example, board diversity and the firm finance, the impact of the board diversity on firm financial performance, right? Now, what is the question? What is the impact of this board diversity on the firm financial performance? How you can create the problem on this one? Right? How you can generate, how you can identify the problem. During the past 5 years, the financial performance of the company or else the selected company or its industry is very low, right? Accordingly, we are questionable. And on the other hand, board diversity is one of major factor that helps to determine the firm financial performance. Accordingly, we are questionable. Actually, we are questionable. One component, board diversity under the coming under the corporate governance is impacting for the firm financial performance. So, what is the dependent? The firm financial performance, independent board diversity. No any impact to the board diversity. It's isolatedly changing. The composition is isolatedly changing. But it is if we are changing if we are increasing the number of members, if we are increasing the number of female members to the board, what happens? Is it impacting for the firm financial performance? If we are increasing the independent or the board members to the board, what is the impact of that composition change the firm financial performance? So the firm financial performance is a dependent variable. The composition is board independent. The composition board diversity, that is the independent variable. So therefore, so clearly identify these differences and the link between this dependent, independent, and the research problem. Once you have identified a problem, right? Just identify a problem and then you have to develop the research topic, right? So research topic, how you can identify the research topic. First, you need to include the independent variable, right? Independent variable, and then you have to link the independent variable with the conjunctions. It may be and, it may be on. And second part, you have to clearly include your dependent variable. So my independent variable, my identity according to my problem. So these are the factors that isolatedly changes. Because of these isolatedly changing factors, it's impacting for the turnover. What it is? Dependent variable, right? Non-financial performance, right? Non-financial incentives, right? Non-financial incentives is always independently changing. Even it's changing, it increasing or it's decreasing. What happened to your the high employee turnover? What it is? The dependent variable. Is there any impact of the changes of this composition, the changes of these incentives to the high employee turnover, right? So therefore, independent first as the first component of the research topic, and then your dependent variable. So then third component, you have to narrow down it, or sometimes you can expand research topic, what it is, including the research area that you are targeting to do your research. Is it a manufacturing industry? Is it a hotel industry? Is it a public listed companies? Is it a SMEs? Is it a sub-campus undergraduate? Is it a commercial banks in Colombo district? Is it a customers in the Colombo district? Is it a what else? A CA, is it a chartered accountants, right? So what kind of sample, what kind of area that I'm going to elaborate in my research? Narrow down your research topic, right? For me, you need to first identify the research area that you are going to do your research. Right? Is it a sustainability? Is it a financial reporting? Is it a corporate governance? Is it a tax? Is it a auditing? Likewise, you need to identify the theme, right? So if you like to do a research in auditing, right, narrow down it, right? What kind of, is it internal auditing? Is it external auditing? Is it audit planning? Is it audit or whatever the thing, right? So you narrow down your research topic, right? The theme, narrow down your theme. Once, if you are interested in doing the research in the internal audits, right, identify that is an independent variable, right? So what is, because of these internal controls, internal audits, what happened to the other variables? You have to find the dependent variable, right? So then link this independent variable with your dependent variable and formulate the research topic, right? Dependent and the independent. Once you formulate your dependent and independent very properly, the independent first and the dependent second, and then you have to identify what is the area, what is the coverage of my research, where it is included in the industry, right? Included in the that means most probably industry or a sample that you are going to collect the data. So that is how you can formulate your research topic. Right. Normally, so these are the some of characteristics that you need to include your research topic. Okay. Okay, examples. Read the examples. First one, the impact of music on concentration and study habit. So what is the dependent variable? Music, right? So what is the dependent variable? Concentration and study habit, right? Study habit and the concentration. right? Second one, how may social media affect the self-esteem in teenagers, right? So what is the dependent? Social media, is it creating an impact to the social esteem, self-esteem in teenagers? What is the teenagers in the sense? That is the sample area that you are going to do your research. Last one, the relationship between sleep quality and the stress level. Actually, neither. So what is the independent variable? Sleep quality, right? So then what is the dependent variable? Stress level. Is there any impact from the sleep to the stress level to reduce or else increase the stress level? So that is the dependent where it subject to the sleep quality. So therefore dependent, independent, you have to identify. And you have to state very correctly the dependent and independent variable in your research. Okay, so these are the some of research areas in business. Since this is your first stage, no, so therefore you are struggling to identifying new research topics and new research areas. Therefore, I have included lot of research areas you can refer, right? So what are those things? So there are 3 slides. Just in time, that means management accounting, right? Risk assessment, tax implication, banking strategies, behavioral finance, merger and acquisition, portfolio management, financial reporting, cash flow. Likewise, there are a lot of areas. So these are the areas. You have to search on these areas. Select one research area where you are interested to do a research. Okay, so this is just our disciplinary research area. The impact of financial literacy on the savings behavior with special reference to the undergraduate in Sri Lanka. So this is the way you need to prefer, you need to formulate your research topic, right? So what is the dependent variable? Financial literacy, right? On which behavior? Savings behavior. Therefore, savings behavior, by looking at this one, we can imagine what we can imagine the problem. So is the savings behavior is affected by the financial literacy, right? So what is the area that you are going to cover? Special reference to the undergraduates. මම undergraduates ලගෙන් තමයි මේක research එකෙන් කරන්න හිතාගෙන ඉන්නේ. එහෙනම් special reference to the undergraduate in Sri Lanka, right? So therefore there are 3 elements in the research topic: dependent variable, independent variable, and the research area, sample, or else the industry that you are going to conduct your research. 3 areas: first one independent variable, second one dependent variable, third one the area. Right. So these are the difficulties that you are facing when you are doing a research. So time constraints are there, financial considerations are there, neither. So there may be some anticipating and avoiding problems in out of box and in the box of thinking. Likewise, human resource limitations. There are a lot of some difficulties when you are doing a research. I thought to do activity number 1. Okay, we'll quickly go to the activity number 1. Now. Okay. In the LMS, right. So I have given, I included some of the interested or some of the trending areas in the handout also. Other than that one, I have given you some research topics, right? Not exact topics, just to study. Right, since you are in the first stage or then tama තේරෙන්නේ මම මේ කියුවට independent variable කියනවා නේද, dependent variable කියනවා අපිට මේවා තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා මම මොකද කරන්නේ? Right, so therefore activity, right? So here there are 40 research topics, not finalized research topics, some of the areas, some of these are dependent and independent variable. By referring those variables, by referring those research topics, and you can have an idea what are the areas, because based on this one, what are my interested areas. Likewise, right? Therefore, I just want to highlight the independent and dependent variable in this given 40 research topic as a classroom activity, but unfortunately, I was not able to conduct that one since the time permits. It's already 14:56 now. Okay, so therefore, as a homework, when we are coming to the next, we'll discuss that one next week. You do this one, right? Identify the dependent and independent variables in this given 40 research topic, right? Okay, any questions? මේ ටික කියවන්න. මම දීලා තියෙන areas බලන්න. ඊට අමතරව මම කියලා දුන්නා වගේ search කරන්න. එතකොට ඔයාලට පුළුවන් research topic එකක් හොයාගන්න. research problem එකක් හොයාගන්න. දැනට මේ areas ටික කියවන්න. Once I completed the next lesson, yes, third lesson, the portfolio, I will give you the portfolio activity number 1. Right? So what is it? Uploading the research topic. Right? Any questions? Topics in the sense we are not asking to finalize the research topic, just we are taking the interested areas. You don't need to worry about the research, right? That is not a difficult subject. It's very clear. And if you are doing step by step, so then it will be very easy to grab the process and in line with the process. So therefore you have to start the work. Otherwise, උඩ බලන්න ඉඳලා මේ සතිය අරගෙන ටික ලබන සතිය අරගෙන આવොත් නම් බෑ. එහෙමනම් බෑ. You have to study. So there are some lot of articles, lot of trending areas. So you can refer those areas. මේවා කියවලා බලනකොට ඔයාලට තේරෙයි මොනවද areas කියලා. නිකන් search කරන්න එපා. අරමුණක් ඇතුව search කරන්න. Trending research topic කියලා ගන්න topics අරගෙන එන්න එපා පුතා. area එකක් ගන්න. Financial reporting වලට interest නම් financial reporting trending areas කියලා අන්න එහෙම search කරලා research findings හොයාගන්න ඕනේ. Any questions? All are questions. Yes. Any questions? From the next week onwards, we'll open the, or else we switch on the videos, right? Maybe I have a connection issue, not connection issue, technical issue for opening my video. Right. Questions? Unclear points? At least say yes or no. I will provide you the link, right? So then you do the activity and upload the document. So since it is an online class, I will open a link, right? So and I will keep it as, yes, due date Friday, right? You do the activity and upload the activity. Is it okay now? Online lectures now? Class again, toku and dependent, independent, ඉස්සරහට highlight කරන්න තිබ්බා. දැන් බෑනේ පුතා ඒ නිසා අපි Word document එක upload කරන්න before Friday, huh? Okay no?
Okay, madam.
Okay. 17B MOH, sorry, 17B exemption. Okay?
Okay, madam.
Okay. Prakash.
Okay, madam.
Prakash. Hello, Prakash. Prakash Puta. Okay, 716 MOH. Budget percentage. මොකද්ද? කන්නඩි දාන්න පුතා. Yes. Okay. At least batch representatives also not there. Okay, Buddha, right? So due date for the activity number 1, classroom activity number 1, that is Friday midnight. Okay, upload document, identify the dependent independent variables and highlight those independent dependent variables in 2 colors and upload the document to the LMS. So next week we'll do the activity within the class. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. Have a good evening.